not your ass. You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up.
Good evening, friends. It's Friday. It's time once again for another exciting episode of Hobbservations on Roads to Liberty, part of the Think Liberty Network. That's think-liberty.com for all your libertarian podcasting needs, or wherever you get your podcasting from. Tonight, we're doing a bit of a breakdown and a general BS session with two of the guys that were guests on the biggest show that we have ever had on our channel. We've got Justin from TBL and probably the only guy in the business with a voice smoother than mine, Rick from North Carolina. How are we doing tonight, boys?
Doing good, brother. How are you?
Good.
Doing wonderful.
Oh, Lord.
And Rick's got his new microphone out, so if you thought he was smooth before, let's get a Chaz.
I brought my towel so I could clean up.
You like Chaz?
Oh, I love Chaz.
The Chaz.
All right, so we're just gonna do a real quick little breakdown of how we think everything went on Monday when we had our Boog Boy interview with Libertarian presidential candidate Jo Jorgensen. She said that I was under the impression that we were going to get a full hour. I was also under the impression that we were going to get a couple more guys in on it, but I was happy with how it turned out. She said she was going to go for half an hour. We got 45 minutes instead. She afterwards expressed that she was very pleased with the content of the questions. It was something different for her. It was normally she gets the same old crap every interview that she does. So getting to hear from you guys, to her, she said, was like a breath of fresh air. So how did you guys get the, what was the feeling that you guys got out of it? Justin?
All right. So I was very surprised with some of the podcast we do and some of the shit that gets talked, to hear some serious questions and just the way they were projected out. I think it went great. And I wasn't in on the whole podcast, but I did go back and watch it, and I was very surprised. Rick, you did a great job. Squid asked some good questions. The only issue I had was when Squid asked what her take on the boogaloo was. I think she misunderstood the question.
Yeah.
She had him explain it, and then we didn't get her take on it. So that was really the only question that didn't go over well for me. Of course, I had some qualms with some of the responses and stuff like that, but all in all, I mean, I was 75% in agreement with all the answers that she had to all the questions, and they were some great questions.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Rick?
I think I'm sitting right there about the 75%, 75% threshold there with Justin. I like most of what she said, and I feel like most of it could translate well to the general public. Even though half of them probably be like, abolish the ATF. That's a law enforcement agency. We got to back that blue. But I'm not sure if she really understands exactly how big Google is, or Alphabet Inc. and stuff like that. I know she definitely supports like a free market and less government inhibition. But kind of one of the things that just irks me is that there is not really much of a free market that can exist when Alphabet controls pretty much all information that's shared and almost all of the ad market. So, I mean, if they can ban one person from their entire platform and all other companies can jump on that bandwagon, and I think we all know who I'm talking about, let's say they can't do it to someone else. But Alphabet aggressively forces people out, and even more aggressive than Alphabet is Facebook. And what's really sad is I believe that Alphabet has influence on our government's antitrust board. But as far as Joe Jorgensen's concerned and her take on it, I'm not sure that in this day and age that there could be a competition to get big enough to rival Alphabet. I mean, these are multinational corporations who are pretty much not beholden to our country's laws and everything. And if they want to avoid something, that's its own issue entirely, as taxes. But pretty much like these companies, we say that we're in a free market economy, but are we really? And I'm not sure that her campaign can really address that without maybe some thinking outside the box.
Right. that was something that I don't think that, going back to what Justin was saying about her not completely understanding the question and everything, is one of the things that I failed to kind of get across to her is exactly the type of guys that you are and your audiences are. You know, typically, no, I'm not going to cast wide aspersions on anybody, but if you had to put people into a box, it was generally more on the conservative side. Maybe some ex-Republicans or some ex-independents, people that are more conservative and are just fed the fuck up with Trump and the Republicans and are looking for another option. I think she came into this thinking that she was just going to be talking to some more dyed-in-the-wool libertarian purists and tried to take that middle road, try to please everybody, tried to play the audience and didn't exactly know what kind of audience she was getting into. And I don't say that as something like, oh, we got her in a trap or something like that. No, I say that as, it's good practice for her to not necessarily know the type of audience that she's going to be speaking to. It allows her to kind of think on her toes and everything. And I think that she understood that about halfway through. Like, these aren't your normal libertarian podcast, and I think that she appreciated that. Iron sharpens iron, as they say. And going to what Rick said, yeah, I do think that the big tech thing is it's out of control. The free market approach is one that I really want to back in principle. And if you don't like Google, don't use Google. If you don't like Facebook, don't use Facebook. And the question comes, if you're not using these platforms, where else do you go? And I kind of liken it to back before technology, you had the town square, and everybody should be allowed to talk in the town square. But what if it's like a company town? And this is actually a Supreme Court case from, I think, the 1870s or 1880s, where you had a frontier town or a mining town, and it was a company town. And so technically a private company owned this entire town. And some lady, I think she was a Jehovah's Witness, is out there proselytizing to people, and the people didn't like it and the company didn't like it. And so they told her she can't proselytize in the public square anymore because it's not necessarily a public square, it's a privately owned public square. And it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that even though the public square is privately owned, it's still the public square, and your free speech rights have to be recognized, because in that company town, the company was the government. And by telling this woman that she can't proselytize in the public square, that is the government infringing on her free speech rights. So when we have these massive monopolistic companies like Facebook and Google and whatever that own the digital public square now, telling people that you can't exchange ideas, or even more insidiously letting people think that they're getting their ideas out there but actually silencing them, that would be like telling this woman, hey, yeah, you can proselytize in the public square in the next town over. You're not getting your audience, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, and for one, I kind of like it that Facebook does what it does. It definitely makes it interesting for guys like us. It gives us something to do. but the whole thing is yeah, they are. They're getting their ideas out there. They're silencing us. But what I don't think this generation has come to realize yet is that Facebook says it, so it must be true. Oh, we've won. We got what we wanted. But then when it comes to a real life situation, and you got a bunch of guys that have been silenced on Facebook, and these people go out and all of a sudden Facebook is not got their back anymore because, oh, this is a real life situation and I'm face to face with somebody and not just typing something online. This isn't what was supposed to happen. These guys weren't supposed to stand up for themselves and for their neighbors and whoever else. And these guys are supposed to be the bad guys, and they're the racist and the homophobes and this, and but all of a sudden, you know, here we are and we're real people. We're not just profiles on Facebook. Their heads explode, or their heads will explode. They just, this generation has not lived in the real world, and they live in that cyber world. And when it comes to real life, they're gonna get a wake up call, in my opinion.
Right.
The wake up call is the issue right now, though, because there's so many people that could really stand up and do something right now, and everybody's sitting back and watching it happen. And I know it's funny to say, like, oh yeah, let's just sit back and watch them fuck it all up. Let's watch them burn it down. But that's gone on for a month now, and it's starting to make me mad. I had the protesters back. The first 3-4 days I was there, I was like, you know, this has really changed my ideas on a lot of things I've thought over the past 25 years of my life since I've been able to think about this kind of stuff. And I was like, this is really changing my viewpoints on a lot of things. And then, you know, 3-4 days into it, and then I'm like, I'm kind of going back to my old thinking. And then here I am 3.5 weeks later, and I'm like, I'm a really salty son of a bitch now. Like, I'm just like, I tried to open my mind up. I tried to be libertarian as fuck. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know what to think now. I'm just, it's getting to the point that it was a serious thing that I was backing at first. Then it kind of got kind of funny, and I joked around like, oh, well, they're doing what everybody else said they were going to do. And now I'm just like, okay, they're really running this. They had a good option and now they fucked it up. And now I'm just like, this is scary. Are we ever going to come back from this?
Yeah. Rick, you got anything?
Well, I had something and then my brain just let it go. Just
Hey, I got something. You know, I said
5 seconds ago.
Bring it in, Ben.
I said I wasn't going to jump in because I'm shirtless, but oh well, here I am. So Justin started to touch on something, but he didn't go where I thought he was going to go. And some of these guys on Facebook, and this will probably lead into something you want to talk about later, but that Krillo guy, and the crazy boogalooers, they get kicked off of Facebook, they get kicked out everywhere. So now they're just sitting in some weird Discord server that nobody else is in because they got kicked off the Discord server with the other guys, and they just get very extreme because they're just like in an extremist echo chamber with each other. And I think that's part of what leads to these guys pulling this shit off. If they hadn't been kicked off Facebook and they're around, I don't want to say normies or whatever, but people who put some thought into their actions, they'd say, what the fuck are you thinking? Don't go shoot up a bunch of cops during the BLM protest. But instead, they're just sitting somewhere and somebody's egging them on. And what did it say? He went and picked up some guy he met on Facebook. Who agrees to that? Like,
well, I do it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But,
what are you doing tonight, person? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Come pick me up. Let's go shoot a cop. Why would that guy even agree to that? It just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's the accelerationist, and you're absolutely right. The allowing of these echo chambers of these extremists, or not allowing it, but forcing these echo chambers to kind of metastasize and build up because they have no other outlet. It's what's that old saying, that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And if these people had been allowed to have the discourse with normal, other guys in the boogaloo movement, like Justin and Rick and all of us, that would be able to talk them out of these crazy notions. I mean, yeah, the argument against that is that, oh, these types of people with these radical ideas are going to radicalize other people, and it's like, yeah, that might happen, but there's more people like us that would talk them down than there are weirdos that would be like, hey, yeah, let's go throw some Molotov cocktails at cops at the George Floyd protest. That sounds like a fantastic fucking idea. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and the whole thing is do I think that we should all have machine guns and not have to have a tax stamp for it or a license for it? 100%. Does that mean that because I'm a boogaloo fella that I keep them at my house and I have illegal machine guns? No. For the sole fact of what's happening right now, they come knock at my door, they're going to see a normal guy that has weapons that are completely legal. There's no point in it to me to put myself out there, put myself in a dangerous position when there is so many more things at stake than me having an automatic weapon. This movement is much more important than the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is super important to this movement, but I think everybody took the focus of the Boogaloo movement laser focused on Second Amendment and totally just let everything else go out the door. And that is not why I got into this. That's a huge one. Don't get me wrong, but we need to focus on everything. We need to focus on the Constitution itself, not just pick and choose what we want to focus on. And everybody laser focused on guns. And if we get hemmed up for machine guns, then we can't work on your right of free speech or your right to assemble. We can't work on that stuff because we're locked up because we had machine gun. Like, you get what I'm saying, and somebody else might elaborate on that a little bit, but I'm terrible getting my point out. But
I lost you there.
You lost my connection.
Well, I don't know what the hell is going on.
How about you, Rick? Can you see me?
Yeah, I could see you.
Did you hear what I said? Did it come through?
Yeah, I heard what you said. It comes through on stream.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can go ahead and elaborate, Rick, if you want to, because I lost him. I lost both of you for a couple seconds there.
Well, what Justin said about the echo chambers, I mean, there's plenty of them. You're getting forced into a corner, and so the only people that are left, blackballed from the entire social media community, are people who are just going to get more angry and more angry. And what we need is connectivity. What we need is to share sensibility with each other on top of, the memes and everything. And not every meme has to be a reality. I've seen so many like Boogaloo side quests, and I love them. But at the end of the day, I think most of them are pretty much kids. They're like, oh my God, it's got a hat. We can do it. We can do this. But what a lot of people don't realize is that we're playing a very dangerous game here. We have an entire system stacked against us, and not just us as the Boogaloo community affiliates in whatever capacity, but us as free people. We have the cards stacked against us. We have an entire misinformation machine run by corporations with big money and big influence telling us what to think. And, that's obvious. But then we have that same money going into our political system. And as we try and fight that, and as we try and spread the gospel of liberty, the more they have pushed against us and the more they've tried to silence us. And so we have to walk that fine line of making sure that we don't run afoul of anything legally. Because if you look at a case, it was either last year or late 2018, a young man up in New Jersey went across state lines to buy 30 round mags. Was it New Jersey or is one of those New England states. He went across state lines to go buy 30-round mags, and somebody snitched on him. So loose lips sink ships. And they picked him up, and they used his memes as a context to pretty much pin on him terroristic intent. Here's a man who shared memes that are very familiar to this community, and he got picked up for having the wrong item, which is wrong, that they would ban 30-round mags, standard capacity. But he got picked up, and now he is probably unable to own firearms or anything. And you didn't hear anything about him outside of a few CNN articles and a couple other things. But the cards are stacked against us, really. So this is a long, hard uphill battle, and doing stupid things does no good to anybody. And relating this to Joe Jorgensen's campaign, I hope she can open her eyes more and see just how high the cards are stacked against us. You know, we are sitting over here like playing solitaire, and Big Daddy Government is rolling out like luxury Texas Hold'em and just taking everything we got.
Yeah, I think it was a conversation that I had when I did the P-Wave interview, or talking to maybe a couple of those guys in one of our other shows, when I said that, to me, the memes that draw a lot of people in, they're over the top, like cartoonishly over the top. Like nobody is going to go out there in full like cowboy action shooting society approved gear and take on a federal agent. You know, that boogaloo side quest, that they're over the top, they're comical because they're conversation pieces. They're something that gets the conversation rolling. They draw people in. Haha, that's funny, let's see what these guys are talking about. You know, because a creative mind that could come up with something like that might be somebody that's interesting to talk to. And what you were saying about getting hemmed up and everything, and somebody just said, so where do you draw the line? That is the prisoner's dilemma. It's
the line's been drawn.
Yeah. Where?
I mean, the line has been drawn. And I had something going through my head, like before he even said that, I wanted to talk about that. And I'm so sick of hearing, you know, choose the hill you die on. That's the pussy way of backing out of doing something, and that's how it comes across. But the whole thing is, it's just okay. So this will lead me into this, and I was, Dustin, before you got into the pre-chat, here locally, me and Mark have started a PAC, which is a political action committee, to anybody that doesn't know that. We got that in the works starting today. We just had the conversation, and we're being backed by a huge organization. I can't say their name right now because at this point, because with our association to the Boogaloo, we cannot be an affiliate, but we are being backed by a large organization right now, to get our PAC started. And the way I want to approach this draw the line is, number one, where I'm drawing the line and where we're going to draw the line is this is when we go out and lobby, or we want to petition for something. I'm sick and tired of seeing these gun rights people go out and they'll petition for what they want, but then the opposition will say, well, we'll give you this if you give us that. And they bend and they say, okay, well, if you give us that, we'll give you this and we'll change this. If we're going to go out as a political action committee and we're going to say, this is what we want, this is what we want, and it doesn't matter what you want, this is what we're going for. We're not taking shit from you. If you don't like it, if it doesn't pass, big deal. But guess what? We are not giving to what you want to pass what we want. This is where it is. We've drawn the line. This is what we want. This is what's going to happen. And it will happen at some point. It's just, how long does it take us to get everybody on board to accept it? And that's where our line is going to be drawn.
Yeah, that is something that has been a hallmark of the anti-gun movement for a long time. Is they come out and they say something extreme like we want to ban all handguns, and the gun rights people are like, no, you're not going to ban all handguns. And then they say, well, okay, we're going to ban handguns that some arbitrary feature like have a front grip or something, and in exchange we'll leave the rest of the handguns alone. And if you still push back against that, they call you baby killers and monsters, and these gun rights extremists are just unwilling to compromise. And the fact of the matter is that when you compromise, both sides are supposed to get something that they want. And in the gun rights battle up until this point, it's always been our side giving a little bit, and the only thing that we get in return is we don't give up everything.
Correct.
And you're right. The time has come to flip that card around and to play that old Uno reverse card where, okay, now we get what we want, or at least we get a little bit of what we want, and you guys get nothing that you want.
Well, and here's the thing. We're labeled extremist. I get it. And we are extreme. And what we've got to sit back and look at is, so do I love what Joe and Lyman say? When I get in, I'm going to abolish the ATF. That sounds wonderful. That's great for us. We love that. We can't deny that. But baby steps work. You cannot go straight to wherever you have to go to push that and say, I want to abolish the ATF. No, you have to take baby steps. You have to do something that is reasonable, but you have to stand behind what you're pushing and not budge on that. So take a small baby step. We're going to push for this. We can't abolish the ATF right off the rip. That's not going to happen. But we can go with something that is possible to get pushed through, and then move forward from that and take steps to it. You can't just go in and say, abolish the ATF. It's not ever going to happen. And we all know that. It's great, but it's not going to happen. That's a meme right there.
Mm-hmm. Rick?
Well, the one thing we got going for us is the entire country is screaming for police reform. And I think it's loud enough now that if something isn't done, then things will get real bad. And I don't think it'll come from us. And number one, I don't have any intention of going out there and committing any kind of like violent acts against the government. I'm not out to start a war. I'm not the accelerationist. I'm not the thing that all these articles are describing, but they are fun to read. I will say this, though. If agents of the state, and that being any sworn law enforcement officer, continues to say things like those several officers in Wilmington, North Carolina did, that was caught on a dash cam or body cam. I forgot which one. I think it was dash cam. They were chatting with each other, and they literally said they were out to, in a nutshell, murder black people. And that shit hit the fan. And then you have nothing come to light for Breonna Taylor, and the government's still foolishly trying to sweep that under the rug. And really, this shit's all going to hit the fan, and people are going to get really, really, really sick and tired. They're going to wake up to even more shit. And it's not going to be our memes that does it. And it's not going to be accelerationists, sneaking around doing their thing and trying to kick shit off and go commit acts of evil. But it's going to be the people in general. It's going to be normal people. And just look what happens every day, every headline. Look how many politicians have flipped and jumped on the bandwagon for police reform to end qualified immunity. Nobody knew what qualified immunity was until about a month ago, maybe. And now we have Senator Rand Paul and Justin Amash who have tried to introduce some measures, which Nancy Pelosi has shot down. But putting it all together, this big change that everybody wants, it ain't going to happen through the memes, which memes are powerful. It's probably the easiest way to connect with people. And it's not going to happen through just keep drawing a line in the sand and waiting on somebody to cross it. It's going to happen when people get sick and tired of Breonna Taylor's dying, of people getting charged for defending their homes against no-knock raid and violent intruders into their homes. And when they get sick and tired of agents of the state declaring that, hey, I'm in it to kill people. And I know plenty of, I have overheard plenty of racist shit in the law enforcement circles. I'm not law enforcement, by the way, for all the listeners, but I have heard it from law enforcement's mouths. Tons of racist shit. Most of them don't care. So, I mean, everybody wants us to do something. Everybody wants the big igloo flag to fly over this country. Everybody wants to go ahead and get this done and make some kind of war against the government. And I say everybody loosely, but you know, all these people who are like, so when does it start? When does it start? When does it start? When does it start? You know, just watch.
It started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all a huge, dangerous game. Like what I said earlier, all that ties into everything. They take voices of influence like us, and they demonize us like they do any voice of influence that conflicts with the mainstream values.
Mhm.
And companies are getting away with it more and more with the censorship.
Yeah, and the thing is going back to what you were saying with people kicking things off and accelerationists not necessarily, you know, having to do anything, is there seems to be a bit of a disconnect between the people who are in political power, be they law enforcement or politicians at any level, and the people like us who are out there screaming in the wind to just stop, right? And I put it in the chat a few days ago, and I was kind of halfway joking about the ATF and the government being the biggest accelerationists of all in this, because people watching right now, I don't know if you guys heard anything about it. It was really kind of on the down low. Only the people that are in the gun rights arena really heard anything about it. But the ATF was considering reversing their reversal of their decision on pistol braces.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, so for
That is
people
the
who
dumbest law the ATF has ever come up with.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
a pistol brace is legal, but a stock is not.
Exactly, right. So
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's another thing that needs to end is those administrative laws.
right.
Just like the ATF commits, the Bureau of Land Management, and all these other like bloated bureaucratic agencies. They come up with these regulations and laws and everything, and they can ruin your entire life, you know, at the drop of a memorandum.
Right. Yeah. So for people who are watching, I'm pretty sure that everybody here knows what a pistol brace is, but for people who might not know what it is, it's we've got this current surge in short-barreled firearms. Yeah, Justin's going back to grab one. Now, some genius came up with a way to kind of somewhat skirt the ban on rifles with shorter than 16-inch barrels. Now, Justin's got it right here. Good on you, son. If you have a rifle or anything with a barrel like this that's shorter than 16 inches, you can put a pistol brace on that. And what that is supposed to do is wrap around your forearm and allow you to hold it one-handed and shoot it. It was designed by a disabled veteran who had lost his hand strength and couldn't shoot his AR pistol anymore one-handed, so he developed this strap thing, and people figured out pretty quick that you could put it up to your shoulder and it made a nifty not a stock, just like that. And
So look at it close. and then here's a stock. Not much difference.
Not much difference. So when they first came out, the ATF said that they were perfectly fine, perfectly legal. You could put them up to your shoulder, no problem. And then some people kept asking over and over and over again. And then the ATF came back and said, okay, no more putting them up against your shoulder. That classifies manufacture of a firearm. And then a bunch of people complained and bitched and said, you can't manufacture something by putting it up to your shoulder. And then they reversed their decision again and said, okay, fine, you can have your pistol braces, you can put them up to your shoulder, there's no way to enforce this. And last week they said they were going to reverse it again. So when I say that the government is the worst accelerationist ever right now, what I mean by that is that we have guys like Rick and Justin and myself and basically everybody in the boogaloo movement that they are accusing of being accelerationists and extremists are out here. We're all very big Second Amendment people. That seems to be the one overarching umbrella that brings us all together is our love for firearms. And they're calling us extremists and they're calling us accelerationists. And we've said over and over and over again that we don't want to fight anybody. We don't want to have any type of bloodshed. But please stop fucking with our Second Amendment rights. And some galaxy-brained retard over at the ATF says, hey, you know what would be really smart? Why don't we say that the pistol braces are against the law now? Just cause. It's only one of the most big brain. It's only one of the most popular accessories on the market right now that's fueling an entirely brand new niche of firearms. Short, compact, mega pistols that people are buying. It's probably other than concealed carry firearms, the braced mega pistol is probably the fastest and hottest selling item in the firearms market right now because they're so goddamn useful. They're so practical for home defense, for fun, for tight quarters, for having in your truck or your car or whatever. They're selling like hotcakes.
And they're sexy as fuck too.
And they're sexy as fuck. And the ATF decides that they're just gonna, galaxy brain out and be like, yeah, we're just gonna make that illegal now when we have a very, very large movement in the country that says stop fucking with this or we're gonna start shooting, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Government, man.
I
I gotta take a little breather. Whew.
I get depressed when I think about just how easy it is for us to lose our rights at the whims of a bureaucratic agency. It's wrong on so many levels, and you sit back and in the grand scheme of like your imagination, you're just like, oh my god, how does this ever change? And that's just if Joe Jorgensen manages to pull off some kind of victory, and I really hope she does. It's gonna be hard as hell to get that changed because, like us, the cards are going to be way stacked against her.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides are probably like you got the big daddy government GOP, and then you got like absolute batshit crazy leftists in the DNC, and then you got your other DNC party members who once had some decent ideas and were pretty moderate and willing to work with people, and now they just don't because, oh my god, if they don't, then the entire left is going to kick them out. But
well, and the thing is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
The thing is if by some means the Libertarian Party got elected, I personally do not feel like we are at the point for that to affect a change. I am afraid that if the Libertarian Party got elected in this election, that there would be way too much push from the left and the right for them to assimilate to what's going on right now. I think that we need some event, and I'm not talking about a violent event, but some event that infringes on our rights enough that the general population takes notice to it, becomes aware of it, and realizes why we need a libertarian in office.
Mhm. And that right there, I think is a good statement. Why we need a libertarian in office. You're not talking about a big L libertarian either. I don't think you're talking about a small L libertarian. Just somebody
Talking
who
about a
has,
Dustin Hobbs in office. And
yeah,
I'm not promoting your presidential campaign for 2024, but you see but you know what I'm saying.
right.
Somebody
Yes,
that's not going to take shit.
right, a small L libertarian, and by that I mean somebody who has the libertarian ideals and someone who's interested in the freedom for the people, not necessarily somebody who's a member of the Libertarian Party. They can be a Republican, a Democrat, LP, Independent, Constitutional, fucking Green. I don't care. Just somebody who has the best interests of my liberty in mind.
A Glenn Jacobs.
There you go. Kane's gonna fucking choke slam the regulations.
Yep.
Glenn Jacobs.
God, say it again.
Oh, Glenn Jacobs.
I'm gonna go grab something real quick. You guys talk amongst yourself. I got kind of a neat little thing that I wanted to show everybody here.
Well, how about that dust storm that's set to hit us down here?
I don't
I think it
watch.
looks like it's going to affect the southeast more than anything.
I don't watch the news.
We're running out of time, and we didn't talk about old Billy Barr much. Did you guys want to get into
Bill
that?
Barr.
I don't know nothing about him.
William Barr, the slimy piece of shit lawyer who tried to get or who did help get the sniper from Ruby Ridge off the hook and got officers off the hook from Waco, and has continued his entire career to subvert the Constitution and to undermine the common citizenry and pretty much fuck us all. And now he's just a worshipped GOP appointed official.
Yeah. This is the quickest hour that's ever gone by on one of these podcasts.
And I put up there his brand new task force. So,
oh yeah, I got the article pulled up here, or I've got a screenshot. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Meanwhile, on Friday evening, Attorney General Bill Barr directed the creation of a task force to counter anti-government extremists, specifically naming those who support the far-right boogaloo movement and those who identify as Antifa. The task force will be headed by Craig Carpentino, the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, and Aaron Neely Cox, U.S. Attorney for the District of Northern Texas, and will be composed of U.S. Attorneys' offices, the FBI, and other relevant departments, according to a press release. The group will share information with local and state law enforcement and will provide training on identifying anti-government extremists, according to an internal Justice Department memo.
You know what's funny about that? Talking about local law enforcement. I've got a few properties that I own, and one of them sat vacant for like 4 years, and I've had an issue with people squatting in it, and me and the local boys use it as a kill house. We do a lot of training in there, and we just never happen to kick the door in when somebody's in there. But the other night, I went past, and the lights were on, the door was open. I was like, yep, somebody's in there. Went by, nobody was in there. So I left everything like it was, went to Father's Day dinner, and went back by, and the door was shut. So I get out, I ratchet strap the front door to the post on the front porch, and I pull in the driveway, and I shine my headlights at the back door, and I call the local cops. Well, I told him, I said, I'm armed. I'm in a plate carrier. I've got a rifle. I have a pistol. I'm pretty much kitted the fuck out. So, you know, when y'all get here, I'll put my rifle down, but I am going to keep my pistol on me. And they were in agreement with that. So they show up, and they're like, damn, man, pretty good tactics. Like, you couldn't watch the front door and the back door at the same time. And then one of them shines a light in my truck, and he sees one of the TBL hats, and he's like, Boog Boy, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I like what y'all stand for. I ended up giving him a patch that night off my plate carrier, and he stuck it on a Velcro spot he had on his uniform and got back in his cruiser. So we're not demonized to all local law enforcement. There's people that are behind us that understand what we stand for and realize that we're not all bad. Did I have to agree to put my rifle up on my own property? No, but I did offer them some respect. I set it on the corner of my truck bed, and I said, my rifle's right there. If you don't care, put it in my truck for me. And I let him pick it up and put it in the truck, because there's a time to push your constitutional rights, and then there's a time to be, civil with people. And they were civil with me, so I gave them the same respect back. So, local law enforcement, when they put that in those articles, yeah, you go to some of these liberal cities, local law enforcement is going to really push the issue, but a lot of your local cops are right here with us, and I think that's what scares the shit out of them.
Yeah, it's like the two counties. Let's say a little tale of two counties here. My county sheriff come out with a public statement on Facebook saying that he will not enforce Governor Roy Cooper's face mask mandate. I just love him so much, but he's not going to enforce it. He said he believes it's unconstitutional to try and force people and fine them, and maybe other consequences just to wear a face mask in public. He believes it is on the person to exhibit personal responsibility for their own health, and it is not the job of law enforcement to force someone to wear a mask for their own health. So he said he will not enforce fines or jail time or any other consequence if you choose not to wear a mask in public. He did say that private property, like Walmart, if they say, hey, wear a face mask or get off our property, that's private property. And if they want to file trespassing charges, then that's on them. And then there's the county
That's
over whose police department is just like, oh my God, we are going to seriously butt fuck anybody who is not wearing a mask. You're going to wear a fucking mask if you're driving down the highway. So
it's like everybody says fuck Facebook, but Facebook is doing a real damn good job of exercising their rights. They have the right to not let us post what we want to post, and they are exercising the fuck out of it, but you can't be mad at them for it.
Yeah, I guess it is one way to look at it, and that is the free marketeer approach to it. So this thing,
if we were doing it, we'd want to have the same backing that they have. So if we wanted the commies to stay off of our platform, we'd want to be able to do that. So,
speaking of which, I know that the ADL and the SPLC are doing third-party partnership with Discord to crack down on hate.
But it all goes back to, I like what they're doing online, but when it comes to real life, the Facebookers are fucked.
Oh yeah. But I am since my Discord account got zapped, I am diving into Gilded, and so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. So I don't know if anybody else out there listening is jumping on Gilded, but I think that could be a good community waypoint for folks.
Maybe. Yeah, some crazy fucking how the Patriot Wave Discord is still up and running.
Yeah,
and I'm still getting a bajillion. I haven't been in there in a few days, and it's just like I can't keep up. I got too much shit to do.
Well, aren't the Big Igloo boys still up on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is their Discord still up? Do you know? Did BIB get zapped on Discord?
I have no idea.
Because if not, I think the main target was the CLO Discord, and that was mentioned in several articles. But there were a lot of people in CLO who were also in other communities, and because I pretty much just lurked there, I think that's why my account got zapped. Because I never really posted much of anything except for maybe like some weird weeboo shit and getting people to post feet. But
feet,
feed me toes. Extra crispy. But I think it was mainly because of the CLO shit. And I don't think I should really say anymore, but luckily I was able to get back into my beautiful, wonderful Patriot Wave Discord.
Can we give my My regular every podcast plug for Tucker Carlson again this week. The motherfucker's killing it, dude.
Yeah, I do appreciate his certain takes on it. I think that he's probably not going to be long for Fox News in
No.
the same way that Andrew Napolitano was kind of shuttled out the door when he said some spiciness for network
He's being
television.
spicy here lately.
I'm a little behind on the Tucker Carlson thing. Can
Well,
catch
you need
me
to
up?
watch like the past 2 weeks. And
His
you'll
mono-
be like,
I
holy
hardly watch
shit,
any,
this
like,
motherfucker's
Fox
a
News.
libertarian.
he's
Well, he
definitely
talks
getting
with
there.
he's constantly like talking with Dave Rubin and stuff, and Dave Rubin's like he says he's conservative, but he has a whole lot of hell of libertarian viewpoints. I think Tucker Carlson has kind of shifted that way, especially lately. But what he did say on Dave Rubin's podcast was that Fox News pretty much lets each figurehead of their own show run it like they want. He said there's no like narrative pushing and editors saying you got to do this. Just pretty much don't tank the network with lawsuits.
Yeah.
But he said they pretty much get free reign of their shows, so they can come up with their content.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, what he said was that, at this point in the climate that we're in, the Republican Party is the only defense that I'm going to say guys like us, because I'm sure we lean more right than we do left. The Republican Party is the only defense we have left, and they have promised that defense for 100 years, and they're sitting back and watching it and not doing a damn thing.
Right. There's a very bad chain of events that the Republican Party in particular, the Democrats do this to a lesser degree, but the Republican Party is really, really bad about hammering wedge issues during campaign season and then keeping those issues alive when they get into office. We had Republican majority Senate, House, and the presidency and the Supreme Court in the first 2 years of Trump's presidency. And a lot of people were optimistic that things like Obamacare were going to go away, and there was going to be like national concealed carry reciprocity, the Hearing Protection Act, all of these wonderful things that a lot of right of center people were very excited for would come to pass when the Republicans had the majority in all three chambers of government, and they just pooped it away and kept those wedge issues alive, so that when the Democrats took the House 2 years into Trump's presidency, now they can suddenly get their base fired up and be like, oh, we got all they're coming for your guns and they're coming for your fetuses. And it's like, you guys had 2 years to change that shit and you didn't do anything. So why the fuck should we have any faith that you're going to do it this time? Because you didn't do it ever.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about like a nationwide carry, and when I was talking about baby steps earlier, and giving in to taking this and taking that, when we went and we handed out 40,000 petitions in Nashville, Tennessee, because they were pushing for statewide constitutional carry. Everybody thought that when we went down there and petitioned, we were doing a great thing and we were going for constitutional carry. What they didn't understand was our petitions were for them to turn down the constitutional carry bill, because it was a fucked up mess. They said, oh yeah, you can carry. It's still going to be illegal, but it's going to be decriminalized. We said, no, we are asking you to turn this bill down. We will not agree to that. Some people were like, you're asking them to turn down the bill for constitutional carry? Hell yeah, we are, because we're not going to accept a decriminalized constitutional carry. You can still get a ticket for carrying without a permit. You just won't go to jail. No, fuck that. We want full-on constitutional carry. So we took 40,000 petitions. We handed it to every office in the Capitol building and said, no, turn this bill down until there can be a bill written that is right.
All right.
I got Tucker Carlson best moment from the last 2 weeks here. I'll play it. Hopefully it comes through right.
To theft. And taxation without protection is theft. It's the
It's
definition
like so
of it.
fucking close. You almost had it.
Almost. Yeah, that was a. You're right. He is shifting more towards that liberty. He said taxation without protection is theft. It's like, oh, you almost had it. You
That's all
almost had it.
memes.
Yep. So, anyways, the thing that I ran in the other room to grab real quick is something that I wanted to. I know you guys have seen it because we're all friends on Facebook. But for viewers who aren't friends with me on Facebook, I got this nifty little participation trophy in the mail a couple of days ago, and it says State of Nebraska. At an election held on the 12th day of May 2020, Dustin C. Hobbs,
I got you big screen. Throw it up there again.
Was nominated for the office of Representative in Congress, District 3, as the Libertarian nominee for the term of 2 years. Bam.
What?
Yep. I mean, we already knew that it was going to happen. I was the only Libertarian running in the Libertarian primary for the seat in 3rd Congressional District in the state of Nebraska. So I won my primary with some Saddam Hussein-like numbers, 100% of the vote. That means that I will be on the ballot come November this year. So Mr. Hobbs goes to Washington, maybe. There's
Hearts
been some
and minds in Hawaiian print.
There you go. Yeah, there's been some drama with the Democrat nominee. He has pissed his own party off to the point where they're trying to run him out, and so by default, I guess, kind of that puts me automatically in 2nd place now so far. So who knows?
The Big Show.
Yes, the Big Show. So
I think you only need one commercial, and you need to be like, District 3, it's free real estate.
that's basically all that Nebraska District 3 is anyways. It's just a giant open area of nothing. But yeah, when you crack open your New York Times here early next year and you find out that a freshman representative assaulted the Capitol with a flashbang and a tomahawk 3 sheets to the wind, that'll be me.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
That's for legal reasons. That is a joke.
Oh yeah, and I got a great one right here. We were talking about memes being taken out of context and people just really going all out meme on some motherfuckers. Buddy of mine, well, actually Luke White, he's been in the chat. He PM'd me. He said Dustin had put up that about the task force. It specifically names the boogaloo. Neat. We're in danger. And then his meme was Darkwing Duck, and it said, "Let's get dangerous."
yeah, and somebody else was chatting over here about when we were talking about the pistol braces. It's like if the ATF wants to say that pistol braces aren't legal or putting them up against your shoulder isn't legal anymore, then just put a stock on it. And for obvious reasons, I can't encourage breaking the law, but at a certain level, he's absolutely right. It's like if they're just going to make shit up as they go along, then we can too, right? And what are they going to do? Arrest us all?
Yeah. And the fucked up thing is you go buy a stock. You can buy a stock for $30.
Yeah.
You go buy a pistol brace to appease the ATF, and it's $429.
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
you got the Gucci one though. Those Maxims are not cheap. You can get like a Shockwave blade for like $25.
Yeah, but you got to get as close to a stock as you can get.
Yeah.
$25.
Yeah, $25 for Magpul Mo.
Yeah.
I do
have a JP Enterprise silent capture spring in it too, so.
Yeah, you're rolling deep on the big dick energy there, aren't you?
Speaking of which, I don't condone buying the.
Speaking of big dick energy, were we going to mention when I slapped my dick on the computer screen, and ask the question? Why don't you walk us through how that happened, Dustin? Because you did it really good in the pre-chat.
Oh yeah. So since we are talking about the Monday interview with Joe Jorgensen, Justin had his times a little messed up and didn't get there until the very end. And we were just about to wrap up, and then Ben comes on and says, "Oh, hey, Justin's here." I was like, "All right, yeah, get him in." And you come in, you had your sunglasses on your head, your hat, you're dirty from work, and you basically just come rolling in. It's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm Justin from TBL. I just got off work. I had my times a little screwed up. Hey, your vice president supports Antifa. What do you got to say about that?" Bye.
He just took off his pants. He had his nuts shaved for the occasion, and he picked them up and set them on the camera. And I wasn't aware of this.
Gingerly set them on the
set them on the table and just dropped that fucking bomb on that interview.
Yeah. And to be completely honest, when she didn't come out and try to weasel out of it, she
answered very, very well. I mean, her response was great.
Antifa can kiss those nuts that you just gingerly placed.
Yeah, because I was thinking the whole time when I rewatched it, and I was like, "Oh man, if Spike really did, get behind Antifa like I've heard, and she just said what she said, he's gonna be really pissed at her."
Yeah, and it's like I said in the pre-chat, it was when he says like I am Antifa, it might have been like I am Antifa in the abstract, like I oppose fascism, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, no shit, that's kind of the
I'm anti-fascist as fuck.
Yeah, exactly. I am Antifa too. If that's the metric by which you're gauging it, yeah, I'm Antifa. I'm sure Rick's Antifa. But if you're talking about the actual like movement that runs out there waving the red hammer and sickle flag and spray paints liberals get the bullet too on the side of buildings and is like kicking over trash cans and setting Starbucks on fire. Yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah, they should probably go purchase a cactus dildo and go play with themselves.
And there's an image I didn't need in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, guys. Well, we're running up on an hour right here, and I got some shit that I need to get accomplished. So we had some pretty good engagement tonight. I mean, it definitely wasn't Monday numbers. Let's see. One guy says that I need some TBL letterhead for if I get in Congress, and I agree. If I go and get like one of those nice fancy headshots done. I am definitely putting the TBL flag lapel pin on there. That's kind of a stealth.
Do you have one? Did you get one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
Yep. So that's going to be cool. Any parting words, Rick, Justin? Either one of you guys want to go first?
Well, I think your letterhead should, when you have your name, I believe the I should have an aloha flower as the dot, and the O in Hobbs should have, instead of an O, it should be an igloo.
Yeah. And my parting words are, I've tried to keep an open mind through the past 3 weeks, and I tried to support everybody, but fuck Antifa.
Okay, with that, I think we're going to call her a night. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and thanks to everybody who had engagement over in the chat. I hope that we were able to answer questions and keep everybody entertained. I'm Hobbs. I was joined tonight with Rick from North Carolina and Justin from TBL, thickboogline.com for all your boog boy needs.
Or libertyactualshop.com now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there we go. libertyactual.shop.com or what was that again?
libertyactualshop.com.
Okay, libertyactualshop.com for all your good equipment and whatnot. So this has been Roads to Liberty, Hobbservations. You can go to think-liberty.com or on any podcasting app. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Have a good evening.